Now, International Olympic Committee is the governing body for modern day Olympics. Dates and names in this chapter is very important. Having said that, now let's move on to our second topic, that is members of the committee. Who all members will be there in the committee? What all functions does I.O.C has and what all duties they have? The fundamental rules and regulations that you have under Olympics are all regulated and updated and revised and taken care again by International Olympic Committee. Hello everybody, my name is Rohit. I take physical education on behalf of Prep School by Vidhyaashram. In today's class, we will cover the third session of Olympic movements in sports. Now without wasting much time, let's jump into the chapter overview or the session overview and see what all things we will be covering in this session. So first, we'll start off with International Olympic Committee, that is abbreviated as I.O.C. And after that, we will see members of that committee, and then we will study about main functions of I.O.C. and then we will study about Indian Olympic Association, and finally we will conclude this session with objectives of Indian Olympic Association, that is again abbreviated as I.O.A. Now without wasting much time, let's move into our first topic, that is International Olympic Committee. Now International Olympic Committee is the governing body for modern day Olympics. So at every country you have an Olympic body or Olympic governing body. All those Olympic governing bodies are affiliated to International Olympic Committee. So International Olympic Committee at an international level is the governing body or the major governing body for the modern day Olympics. The second thing is that the International Olympic Body, again International Olympic Body, which is I.O.C, International Olympic Committee's headquarters is situated in Lausanne, Switzerland. Okay, that's the second point that you must note. After that, the third point is it was created by Pierre Baron de Coubertin. If you might have covered or if you might have seen the second session, that again I recommend you go back and see the second session and the first session to understand more about Pierre de Coubertin or Baron de Coubertin. Who was it and what significance did it have in again all modern day Olympics and the initiation of the whole Olympic system or Olympic movement that we had. Now having said that, he was the person who created this committee in the year 1894. At what date? 23rd June. Now again and again I will explain this, and again I repeat this thing, and once again I will tell you that dates and names in this chapter is very important, because this chapter has a lot of events and lot of things that is related to the history, and when you talk about history, names and dates are equally important. So writing all those dates and writing all those names and what relevance or significant activity or event happened on that day is again important. So I hope you are writing down all these dates and important names. Having said that, now let's move on to our second topic, that is members of the committee. Who all members will be there in the committee? So in International Olympic Committee, we will have three set of members. First, we have president, then we have vice presidents, and after that we have executive board. President is again, the president of I.O.C is again elected by its member. So like I said, I.O.C International Olympic Committee has a board of members. All those board of members vote, cast a vote, or they together elect the president of the committee. Which committee are we talking about here? We are talking about International Olympic Committee. Okay. The president is elected for a term of how many years? For a term of 8 years. After that, the same person can be again re-elected. Now re-election can also take place, and the same person can also be re-elected after the term of 8 years. And the same person can continue if he wins the election and he can carry forward the post. Otherwise, whomever the second candidate is standing in the opposition, if he wins, he will take over the president's post in the committee and carry forward its duty. Now moving on to the second point, we have vice presidents. Now the second set of members that we have is vice presidents. So vice presidents in the committee is total 4 in number. So basically in the I.O.C 4 vice presidents are elected. These officials are again elected by members of the committee. Just like the president, even the vice presidents are elected by the board or the members of the committee. They are again elected for 4 years. Unlike the president who is elected for 8 years, vice presidents who are 4 in numbers, they are elected for the term of 4 years. After that again, they can be reappointed if the members of committee desire so. That means there is no re-election so that they could reappoint those people again. But if the members of the committee desire to reappoint them to the same post even after the term of 4 years, they can do so. So having said that, let's move on to our next set, that is executive board. Now the I.O.C executive board consists of the president, 4 vice presidents and 10 other members. So we already studied about president, we already studied about vice president. Apart from that, there are total 10 executive members in the whole committee. Okay, all the members of the I.O.C executive boards are elected by conducting again an I.O.C session. An I.O.C session, just like we have at a political level in our country also, in a democratic country also, we have upper house and lower house, like we have sessions in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, or in the upper house or lower house. Just like in our country, even in the Olympic committee, there will be a session. There will be a session where the vote casting will be there, and again the 10 executive members are also selected or elected by that kind of means. So again, the whole membership of Indian Olympic Association and International Olympic Committee depends on the vote casting. Okay, so again, voting system is used to elect all these executive members, president and vice presidents of International Olympic Committee. Having said that, let's move on to our next topic, that is again main functions of I.O.C. What all functions does I.O.C has and what all duties they have? The first point is the place where the Olympics will be organized is decided by this committee. So every year, every 4 years, when the Olympics takes place, every 4 years at a place where Olympic takes place, at that day itself, at that place itself, the next Olympics place also is decided and it is again announced. So that decision where to conduct the next Olympics is also taken. Again, the responsibility is taken by again I.O.C. So I.O.C's duty include that thing at the first. So they are the people who decide, they are the committee who decide where exactly Olympic takes place, which country, which state or which place. After that, we have for conducting the competitions and general programs. For conducting the competitions and general programs for the Olympics, the fundamental rules and regulations that you have under Olympics are all regulated and updated and revised and taken care again by International Olympic Committee. And when you talk about the national bodies of Olympics at different countries, all of those countries are affiliated to International Olympic Committee. Okay? All of those national level Olympic bodies are affiliated to International Olympic Committee. So whatever rules those guys implement, whatever rules International Olympic Committee implements, the same rules are followed and made sure is the benchmarks and everything is followed at the same time by the national bodies at different countries. It's just like the university system. It's just like the university system. You might have studied that certain colleges are affiliated to certain universities, right? So each of those colleges follow the rules and regulations given by the university to which they are affiliated to. Exactly like that, the Olympic body at different countries are again affiliated to International Olympic Committee. So whatever rules and regulations is regulated and again revised by International Olympic Committee is again implemented and used by even the national level Indian Olympic Committee or different national level committee that a different country has. So having said that, let's move on to our next point, that is it also encourages and supports the promotions of ethics in sports as well as education for youth through sports. That means they also promote the importance of physical education, the importance of physical activity and sports in schools, colleges and different various educational institutions. Okay, having said that, let's move on to our next point, that is again it also ensures the regular conducting of the Olympic Games. So what sometimes Olympics may miss out due to some situation, they will ensure that that doesn't happen. If any kind of situation happens or what to do, or if certain kind of locations are not ready, what is the plan B, what is the plan A, all those kind of backup plans, they will make sure that Olympics takes place at the proper time. We have different categories in Olympics, like we have Winter Olympics and Summer Olympics. So different Olympics categories also we will have. Okay, so all those things, the scheduling of that, again the planning of that, the ensurety of whether it will happen or not, all those things will be taken care by International Olympic Committee. It's their duty to ensure that every 4 years Olympics takes place irrespective of different conditions. So again, if any kind of conditions take place, just like we have now pandemic going on, if Olympics was going on in between at this time, what they would have done, all those kind of things, all those kind of situations is taken by International Olympic Committee. It's their responsibility to ensure that nothing comes on the way, or whatever obstacles comes in the way of conducting this Olympics is taken care of. Okay, having said that, let's move on to our next point, that is again, it takes action in order to strengthen the unit and to protect the independence of the Olympic movement. Okay, so whatever is possible, whatever situation happens, whatever things, whatever legal issues or whatever different kind of problems that Indian Olympic Association or different countries Olympic bodies face, or at an international level the whole Olympic event or a whole Olympic activity may face, it's the importance, is the duty of International Olympic Committee to resolve that. Okay, once again I'll read the point. It takes action in order to strengthen the unit and to protect the independence of the Olympic movement. Okay, what does it do? It again makes sure that it keeps the unit of Olympics together and united. Okay, the strength of the whole Olympians, the Olympians committee, the Olympians team, the whole Olympic family, it keeps the unity and strength of all of them together. Having said that, let's move on to our next point, that is again, it also acts against any form of discrimination affecting the Olympic movement. So the Olympics started, and the Olympics started as a game for only Greeks back in the days when you study the history. Again, if you have missed out that part about ancient Olympics, I recommend you go back and watch this session too. There you will get to know what I'm talking about exactly. That is why it's important to follow the series of lessons that we are going through here. So without watching the lecture 1, you will not be able to understand the lecture 3 of the same chapter. So I recommend you go back and watch the lecture 1 and lecture 2 to understand this further. Now what I'm talking about is it also acts against any form of discrimination affecting the Olympic movement. Now Olympics, when it started in ancient Greece, right, at that point of time only Greeks were allowed to take part in that. But later, when Pierre de Coubertin or Baron de Coubertin again initiated the Olympics, he made sure that such kind of discrimination or such kind of limitations are not there in Olympics. And Olympics has one single idol also, that again everybody is allowed to participate in Olympics irrespective of any kind of discrimination or change in the race, or again any kind of discrimination or any kind of differentiation in human beings. Because at the end, the whole concept is everybody is a human being and they should not be discriminated based on religion, race, color, state, linguistics, or any traditional or cultural backgrounds. So that's one again point that International Olympic Committee makes sure that it's implemented. So no discrimination should take place in the Olympics. That's one another key point and one another responsibility of International Olympic Committee. Having said that, let's move on to our next point. It encourages and supports the promotion of women in sports at all levels. Same, if you go back to ancient Olympics, there women were restricted to play or take part in Olympics, and also they were not allowed to watch Olympics. Now the backstory of it, again you have to go back and see the session 2 and 1 to understand it more better. So again, to avoid this kind of situation that happened in ancient Olympics, to rectify that, to rectify the mistakes in history, Baron de Coubertin again, when he initiated the modern day Olympics, he made sure that this kind of restriction is not there, and women have also again promoted, and they are again supported, and again they are encouraged to take part in Olympics. Now having said that, let's move on to our next point, that is it leads the fight against doping in sports. Now what do you mean by doping? Doping is the drug abuse that again you see in many sports and many sports competitions, and you might have read about this in many sports articles, is again restricted in Olympics. So the International Olympic Committee makes sure that certain steps and certain important steps are taken and security steps are taken, so no sportsman again gets into this trap of again doping or again drug abuse. Okay, so that's one another responsibility of International Olympic Committee. Having said that, the next point is it encourages the development of sports for all. Just like we studied about it, its encouragement, the responsibility of International Olympic Committee to again encourage all the youth to take part in sports or to implement sports in again school activities and their regular day life. Just like that, again International Olympic Committee make sure that encouragement of sports for everybody is again promoted as a part of their daily life duty and daily life activity. So sports is important for everybody, physical education is important for everybody. They make sure that they promote it and it is implemented in Olympic and Olympians and all across the world. Okay, let's move on to our next point, that is it opposes any kind of political or commercial abuse of sports and athletes. Okay, so any kind of political or commercial abuse that a sports man could face or a sports person could face, it makes sure that those things doesn't happen. So this comes under again legal obligations that they have. So what they do, they again oppose any kind of political or commercial abuse that a sportsman or a sports could face at an international level at different commercials or different situations. These are some of the duties and functions of International Olympic Committee. Now these are the major responsibilities and major duties of International Olympic Committees. Apart from that, there are a lot of minute small little duties that they have. All of them are a part of this, all of them includes in that. This was just a cloud's idea of where on all the International Olympic Committee gets involved when it comes to physical education and when it comes to Olympic movement. Having said that, let's move on to our next topic, that is Indian Olympic Association. Okay, so I discussed about Olympic bodies, Olympic governing bodies at a national level at different countries, right, which is affiliated to International Olympic Committee. For our country, for India, that is Indian Olympic Association. So basically, Indian Olympic Association was established in which year? It was established in 1927. The abbreviation for Indian Olympic Association is I.O.A. There is two things that I want you to note down: the date that is given over here and the abbreviation. So wherever you see I.O.C, that is International Olympic Committee, wherever you see I.O.A, that is Indian Olympic Association. And Indian Olympic Association was established in 1927. So these things you have to keep in mind. Now let's move on to our next point, that is who established and who all were the again committee members when the Indian Olympic Association was established. So Sir Dorabji Jamshedji Tata and Dr. Noreen became the founding president and Secretary General respectively of Indian Olympic Association at the time of the establishment of I.O.A. Again, abbreviation expanded as Indian Olympic Association. Again and again, I am telling you guys about the abbreviation because it's important. You may get this in 1 mark question also. So learn all the abbreviations and its expansion because it's necessary for you to understand it. And the date also, what date did we see here? 1927, the establishment of I.O.A. Having said that, let's move on to the third point. The third point is I.O.A is affiliated to I.O.C. Like I said, every Olympic governing body at a national level is affiliated to at its international bigger brother or international governing mother, that is International Olympic Committee. Okay, just like that, exactly the same way in India also I.O.A, that is Indian Olympic Association. Indian Olympic Association is affiliated to I.O.C. This point also you should keep in mind. After that, we have the last point over here, that is Sir Dorabji Tata was also elected as the first I.O.C member of India. It is obvious that when the founding members were Sir Dorabji Jamshedji Tata and also Noreen became the founder president, it is obviously they are the first person or the first board member of the whole association. Just like we have the concept of first lady, right, in US. Why they call it like that? Because being the wife of US president, they call it as like the first lady, right? Exactly the same way here also, since he became the president, he was the first person who again established the Indian Olympic Association. He was the first person who was there at the time of establishment. He obviously became the first I.O.C member of India. Okay, having said that, now let's move on to our next topic, that is objectives of Indian Olympic Association. we studied about objectives and duties and functions and responsibilities of International Olympic Committee. Just like, let's see what all objectives does Indian Olympic Association has. Okay, so the first one is that development and promotion of Olympic movement. So the different concepts and different ethics and different morals and different things that we studied in this whole Olympic movement chapter, the Indian Olympic Association makes sure that it is promoted. It is again established in everybody's mind, in everybody's life, and also to promote the importance of sports and Olympic movement across different people in the country as well as in the world. After that, it enforces all the rules and regulations of I.O.C and I.O.A. So basically at national level and also at international level we have certain Olympic rules. So it makes sure that all those rules and regulations are implemented properly without any kind of failure. So that is again the second objective of Indian Olympic Association. After that, the third point is that Indian Olympic Association serves as the only responsible body in the whole country to be again responsible for any kind of Olympic decisions and Olympic recommendations that goes on in our country takes place. So this body is responsible for all the sort of activities and all the sort of things that goes on at an Olympic level. To be, in their wording, to be the official organization in complete form and responsible for all the make related to Olympic event. So whatever they do, so whatever activity related to Olympics, whatever training or whatever funding related to Olympics happens in the country, it is all responsible. The responsibility is taken by again Indian Olympic Association. It's their responsibility to take care of that, and they are the single most responsible body in the whole country whenever it comes to any kind of Olympic event or Olympic activity. Having said that, let's move on to our fourth point. The fourth point is the promotion and encouragement of physical education and moral and cultural education of the people and youth, so that their character and personality is developed. So the development of personality, the development of character, the implementation of physical education, the implementation of sportsmanship spirit, sportsmanship morals, all those things and the promotion of that is again taken care by Indian Olympic Association. Now, I'm not saying that Indian Olympic Association is responsible to do that. Okay, that's one of the things that they do. But as a youth, as a common sportsman, everybody who takes part in sports is supposed to promote the benefits of physical activity and physical education and sports to the youth and to others, so that they also understand how much it is important to implement all these things in their life. Having said that, let's move on to our fifth objective, that is admitting the membership of the State Olympic Association and National Sports Federation, for which submission of their annual reports, audited statements and account is necessary. These documents should be deposited to the I.O.A for any kind of information or any kind of legal cross-checking. Okay, so it is important for everybody who is involved in I.O.A, every members and everybody who is a part of executive committee, to submit all these documents that they have mentioned, so that they could cross-verify their backgrounds and cross-check a lot of legal things, so they don't fall under any kind of legal obligations or legal faulties. So all these things are again ensured by Indian Olympic Association. So these are again some of the objectives of Indian Olympic Association. Having said that, let's move on to our next point, that is to undertake with assistance of national sports federations. So Indian Olympic Association, okay, I.O.A works in collaboration with multiple other federations related to sports and physical activities in the country. So the working of the association or the working of the committee runs very smoothly. So that is the sixth point and sixth thing that they have. So whatever management, whatever transportation, whatever administration that they have to do, whatever these small little things that they have to take care of, they do collaborations with other bodies in the country also to ensure that it runs smooth. Having said that, let's move on to the seventh point. The seventh objective is that to take disciplinary action against federation for misbehavior or any other undesirable activity bringing discredit to the country. So any kind of sports misbehavior or any kind of unethical activity that is done in sports by any federation, if any federation is practicing any kind of wrong activities or doping, for example, or drug abuse in sports, then the Indian Olympic Association takes major action. That means you could figure it out that Indian Olympic Association is the major or the topmost federation or the topmost governing body for any kind of sports activity that goes on in our country. So whatever federation you have, whatever clubs that are there in sports, whatever activities goes on in there, the rules and regulations for that, any misbehavior if they do, all of those things will be again take care by again Indian Olympic Association at a national level. They make sure that any kind of problem or any kind of drug abuse or any kind of legal issue the country doesn't face, the country doesn't get discredited because of these kind of small little things or wrong things that certain federations practice or certain people practice. So it happens that if a small federation in the country also does any kind of drug abuse, it affects the whole image of the country. So Indian Olympic Association makes sure that to take action against any kind of federations if they do any kind of wrong illegal activities under the name of sports or under the name of our country's sports activities. Having said that, let's move on to our next objective of Indian Olympic Association, that is in cooperation with the National Sports Federation, associations and different bodies, they control the selection, okay? They control and organize the selection, training and coaching of the teams that will represent India. So who all people will represent India at an Olympic level at an Olympics, okay? So like I taught you about International Olympics and who all are eligible for Olympics, right? Indian Olympic Association has to recommend those names at International Olympic Committee. Then only those people will be eligible to represent India at Olympic level. But all of those members who are recommended from Indian Olympic Associations are not from Indian Olympic Associations. They are again fetched or handpicked by sports professionals and sports advisors across different kind of clubs and different kind of federations, and they are handpicked and they are selected, and then they are Indian Olympic Association for some months of training, and further they are again sent forward and recommended to Olympics. So Indian Olympic Associations work along with different federations to keep an eye on certain talented sportsmen so that when the time comes for Olympics, they could pick those talented sportsmen from there and recommend them further for the International Olympics. So that's one objective and that's one function that Indian Olympic Association does. After that, we have the ninth objective, that is to enforce and defend the exclusive rights of association to use the Olympic flag and Olympic insignia. Okay, so the right of Indian Olympic Association to use what? To use the exclusive rights of Olympic flag, Olympic insignia. Okay, so Olympic sign and Olympic flag, to use that, the permission for that. So it makes sure that it defends that right that they have. Okay, so that exclusive right that they have, they make sure that it is defended. So that is also one of the objectives of Indian Olympic Association. Having said that, I hope you understood all the different topics that we studied in this chapter, all the different concepts that we studied in this chapter. Again, I will recommend for you to go back to the first session, see that, then look into the second session, then look into the third session, and then you will understand the whole concept. Don't randomly watch session 2 or lecture 2. See it in a sequence so you understand the concept more better. Okay, so hoping you understood all the topics, hoping you understood everything, and hoping you understood all the different morals and ethics of sports and Olympics. This is me, Rohit, signing out in the next chapter. In the next session, I'll see you with next chapter with a whole new different concept and a whole new different thing to study. Until then, this is me, Rohit, signing out until next time. Goodbye.